What is up, boys? We are back. It is time once again. It's Thursday night. It is what would be the Thursday night football game, but of course we don't have one because it's Super Bowl week. What's up? Welcome to Duct Tape Dynasty. Thanks for joining us. I see we got Andrew out there in the chat so far. Hopefully Walbert will be joining us, and good old Dave. Hopefully he can jump on as well. Should be a fairly quick show today because obviously only one game to talk about. Not a lot going on in the NFL, given that there's only one game left in this season, which makes me kind of sad, to be quite honest. I get a little bummed when football season's over. I don't know about you boys, but yeah, I definitely get jacked when it's coming up, and especially during it. But boy, as soon as it's over, I go into a bit of a depression. How's my volume, boys? Am I too loud? Am I good? Does it sound good? Whatever. You guys got volume knobs. Hope as long as you can hear me, we should be good. But anyway, welcome. It's good to see you guys. Yeah, the Pro Bowl games review. Good point there, Andrew. The Pro Bowl. You know, the Pro Bowl's been a item of contention for quite a while now because the game is just garbage. Nobody wants to play in it. Nobody wants to get hurt in it, et cetera, et cetera. So after quite a bit of, I guess, feedback, you could say, they're finally looking at doing something a little bit different. Well, not looking at. I mean, this year they finally tried it. They kind of put together more of a what I would call a carnival atmosphere to it. Brought back kind of that quarterback skills competition. Well, I guess they didn't ever really get rid of the quarterback skills competition, but they threw in some other things. You know, we've got dodgeball, and of course the big change is the fact that now they just play a flag football game. Which, to be quite honest with you, it's better than the wannabe football game that they were playing. And to be honest, I think people were going to end up getting hurt. And yeah, I think it needed a change. I don't know if this flag football thing is the end-all, be-all, but I think it was a good shot for try number one. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I thought it was cool. I mean, I didn't get to watch a whole bunch of it, but nonetheless, I thought it was cool. I, of course, mainly liked that quarterback skills, the throwing competition thing, of which Derek Carr, you know, of course, put on the clinic. Everybody said, oh, man, Derek Carr, you know, he showed the Raiders, didn't he, in his own building and all this stuff. Well, let's slow down a little bit because last time I checked, he wasn't wearing pads. He didn't have a pass rush. He wasn't, you know, I mean, come on. Anyway, but nonetheless, he did put on quite a show. It was fun to watch. I always glad to see him do well. I'm not a Carr apologist by any means, but I mean, whatever. If he does good. If he doesn't do good, okay, whatever. Anyway, and I honestly, I didn't see any of it. I wasn't tuned into any of it, but I did catch just mainly highlights and, of course, everything that was shown on the Pat McAfee show, which I faithfully watch / listen to every day during, yeah. Anyway, man. This thing is showing that I'm like going way hot on the microphone. So let me turn it down a little bit. How's that? There we go. Turned it down a little bit. It's not peeking out so much. So sorry about that, boys. We were getting a little twangy there. Anyway, back to it. Where were we? Oh yeah. So hey, let's get into it, right? I mean, I had been doing what I termed what headlines I care about. I changed it up a little bit now. We'll see what you guys think of this. I want some feedback on kind of a back and forth section of the show now. So anyway, here's our first item to talk about, and it was, of course, as we know, we talked about last week, Tom Brady retires officially. I think it's for real this time, which needed to happen. It should have happened last year. It was kind of a bummer to see him go out that way. Not that he had an amazing year the year before, whatever. It doesn't matter. But Taylor Lewan put out a tweet, and I know he wasn't honestly serious about it, but he says, we should retire the number 12 for every team in the NFL. And from a straight respect standpoint, yeah. I mean, we talked about it last week. Brady's the GOAT. I don't know that there ever will be another one like him. Granted, the way they're protecting the quarterbacks and whatnot these days, I mean, the longevity of a quarterback is going to be, in theory, I mean, there's no end to it, until they just get, maybe we'll have a 60-year-old quarterback out there eventually, but I still doubt, no matter how long any quarterback plays in the future, that they will do what Tom Brady was able to do and win 7 Super Bowls. That said, of course, you can't retire the number 12 for the entire NFL. I mean, how would you do that? How would you tell Aaron Rodgers, yeah, it's retired in Green Bay, but it's not for you. It's for Tom Brady. So how would you tell Terry Bradshaw, yeah, number 12's retired, but not for you. It's for Tom Brady, So anyway, I mean, it seems like a cool idea, but yeah, anyway, I know he wasn't serious about it, but it's, I think if anybody would ever warrant such a thing, Tom Brady would be the guy. So, yeah, that's my stance on that. Now, Brett Favre returned, first 60-year-old quarterback. Now, there you go. If there was going to be a 60-year-old quarterback, I would think it would be Brett Favre. However, his issues in stealing from the poor and keeping for himself, I think, will keep him away from ever returning to the NFL. He wants to get as far away from the spotlight as he can. Yeah. So there's that. Let's move on. Drew Brees. I don't know if this was Drew Brees' attempt to come back to relevancy. Do we remember that 2 years ago he was actually a commentator or something? Not sure where he was this last year. I didn't see much of him. He wasn't much to talk about. In the first year he was out there, I like Drew Brees. He's originally a San Diego guy. So I do have a soft spot in my heart for Drew Brees. However, him as a broadcaster, I don't think it was really a big sell. And when I first read this headline of these next 7-8 years for Russell Wilson, could be the best of his career, originally I went, okay, Drew, you're trying to, make a hot take and get yourself back out in the spotlight, relevancy maybe just a little bit longer before Tom Brady formally comes in and kills any chance you had of being a commentator. But there is something that can be said to this, and we will get to the Sean Payton, Russell Wilson could be drama. First, let me see. No, Brady is awesome, but a number of each team player. Yes, exactly, Wally. What's up, Dave? Welcome, bro. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you can stick around for what will be somewhat of a quick show. But anyway, it's good to see you out there. Hopefully we can get this thing done before you have to go. I know you got stuff to do, places to be, stuff to set up. Anyway, so the Russell Wilson thing, will he be better next year? I think he will be with Sean Payton. Here's why. So the whole reason Russ Wilson wanted out of where the heck was he? He was in Seattle. There you go. Out of the Seahawks, was because Pete Carroll was really restrictive on him. He was really Russell Wilson is not Russell Wilson wants to be a top 5 quarterback of all time. He's not. He doesn't have that skill set. He won't. He'll never be. It's great that he wants it, and I have no doubt that he works for it and all that, but that's just not who he is. He doesn't have the skill to be it. And Pete Carroll knew that, and so he was very restrictive on the plays that they would run in Seattle. Mainly, they ran the heck out of the ball, a.k.a. Marshawn Lynch, right? Beast mode. We ever heard of it? And Russell Wilson then always looked like a hero because when they did use him to throw, everybody had to protect for the run. And so Russ looked like a hero throwing the ball out there. Well, Russ, in his mind, went, well, I can do that all the time. And so the whole let Russ cook thing was out there, let Russ cook, he can make every throw, whatever. Well, in Denver, they kind of took the handcuffs off of Russ and they said, okay, Russ, yeah, you bet, buddy. You can throw, you can do everything, whatever. And look how that worked out. How was his season last season? Last time I checked, the Broncos are picking pretty high in the draft. So, the experiment didn't work. Now, does Russ realize that Russ maybe can't cook as good as he thought? Probably not. I think Russ has got some fantasy stuff going on in his head. Anyway, let's move on to the interesting part between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And it gets into why I think Russ will actually be a little bit better next year under Sean Payton. Part of it is because he can't really go anywhere but up. But the other part of it is Sean Payton ain't putting up with. He doesn't care if Russ wants to cook. Sean Payton's going to run what Sean Payton wants to run, and Russ Wilson can either do the plays that Sean Payton wants, or Russ Wilson will sit on the bench. And that became very apparent very quick when this week Sean Payton was asked by a reporter, which good on them. They said, hey, what do you think about, what's your policy on, Russell Wilson has not just Russell Wilson in the building, but we all heard, supposedly he has an office. And while he may not have an office, I don't know if he does. He probably does. But regardless, his team 3, as they're called, definitely have offices there. They have parking spaces there. They have, and we've heard about it. We've heard about all the issues over the season with Russell Wilson. But when Sean Payton was asked about that, Sean Payton was like, no, not on my team, basically is what Sean Payton said. How that's going to go over with Russ, I don't know. We'll see. It could be very interesting. It could be dramatic. I don't know. But, got my iPad freaking out here. Anyway, but I think Russell will be somewhat better next year. He's got to be, because he really doesn't have anywhere to go but up. So let's check. Right, there we go. Just making sure I didn't miss any more comments here. Speaking of broadcasting and Brady, what do you think? Him joining Fox team next season. Why does this thing keep doing this? I am not. Stop it. My iPad keeps trying to. It thinks that I'm trying to use Siri or whatever. Anyway, Brady next season. The big thing is, so Greg Olsen this year, and I can't even remember who he's in there with. The guy's good, but they made an awesome team, right? And it's like, well, that's Fox is where Brady's supposed to go. So what's going to happen? Is Greg just going to get tossed to the side and all that? Well, they came out and said that, basically next year, the 2023 season, they'll use Tom. But it sounds like they're going to kind of ease him into it, which I think is smart, because I'm not sure how Brady's going to translate into the broadcast booth in terms of, I don't know how good he's going to be. I don't know. I mean, we know he's a brainiac out there on the football field and can pick apart every defense and has pretty much seen everything there is to see in the NFL and dominated it. I don't know if he can verbalize that. I mean, will he be able to bounce off of somebody else in the booth? We don't know. So the good news is that they've already come out. Fox has said that next year it's still going to be Greg Olsen's show with, I can't remember again who it is that's in there with him, but they will have it next year as well. And, Tom Brady, I'm sure, will augment or something. They'll have him on the side. I don't know what they'll do. But 2024 is the official year for Brady. So I think that gives him, at least it kicks the can one more year down the road so they can see, number one, if they have something, and then they can also figure out what they're going to do with the Greg Olsen thing. Because if Brady's not going to work out, Greg Olsen and team will stay in there, and they'll figure out something else for Tom Brady. But if Tom Brady's going to work, then they got to figure out what they're going to do with the Greg Olsen show. Anyway, I like Greg Olsen. I've always liked Greg Olsen, and I want to see him. I want to see him do good things. So I hope they keep him out there forever. Anyway, he's doing good. I hope he keeps doing good. And that. And so we'll move on from the Russell Wilson thing. Our last one here, and I think we all saw this, that China was actually just trying to reach us about our car's extended warranty. So nothing you see here, folks. No spying going on. It was just them asking about our extended warranty. And to be quite honest, Andrew, I think if Tom Brady, reference your Greg Olsen comment there, if Tom Brady is good, I think Greg Olsen potentially could end up being maybe like a trade sort of a thing. I don't know. They trade him to a different network. I don't know if they do that with broadcasters and whatnot, but if there's a case for it, he would be it. He's good. And the way Romo is acting a fool out there, he acting like a drunk idiot. They might, wherever he's at, might cut his contract. CBS or what is it? Yeah, CBS. Get rid of Romo. I mean, Romo, man, yeah, he came on the scene, and boy, oh boy, and he cashed in quick, didn't he? And as soon as he got his bag of money, it kind of went downhill. Hopefully he turns it around, because Romo, when he was calling plays before they happened, that was awesome to watch. That was fun to be a part of. So although I'm not a giant Romo guy, I'd rather honestly hear Greg Olsen in there. But it was pretty cool when Romo was calling plays before they even happened. So I'm all about that. Anyway, so hopefully he gets it back together. So, boys, let's move on, shall we? Let's get to our results and our game of the week. We already went over the results last week. Nothing has changed. Obviously, there weren't any games last weekend, but as we see in the championship round, Dave, we remember, went 2-0, with Andrew going 0-2, which swapped our standings. We did have Andrew and I tied atop at 29-12 or something like that, or 28-12, whatever it was. But now it's myself and Dave at 29-13. Walbert and Andrew are tied at 28-14. Is that what it said on there? I think that's what it said on there. Bottom line, we're all within a game. And so it was just a scenario where there's only one game going on this weekend, kind of the Super Bowl, last game of the year. So I said, what the heck? Let's give everybody a chance to win, and threw a couple prop bets in there. Well, granted, over-under is not really a prop bet, but it will be for this. Anyway, so the question is Kansas City or Philadelphia, heads or tails, and then the over-under of 50.5. So you're basically, if anybody doesn't know how that works, it is the combined total score between the two teams. Do you think the total will be over 50.5? In other words, will it be 51 points or more? Or do you think it'll be under 50.5? In other words, will the total be 50 or less? So, let's get to it. Let's just talk about the game and kind of what's going on with the betting right now. Everybody right now, I think it's come down a little bit, but as of a day ago, 76% of the money was on Philadelphia, meaning everybody's betting on Philadelphia. That said, the line, usually what Vegas does is they then will adjust the line to kind of encourage betting the other way. They try, and Vegas is in it to make money. So anyway, but the line never moved. The line never moved, and so it was like, well, wait a second, what's Vegas know that we don't know? And I've been racking my brain over this. Kansas City or Philadelphia, Kansas City, Philadelphia, who's going to win this thing? And it is a tough call, but I'm just trying to figure out why everybody thinks Philly is just going to dominate. And here's what I came up with. This is what I think. And this is may not be the reality, but this is at least how I arrived at the justification. This is the justification for how I arrived at my pick. And that is, so why is everybody just so hell-bent on Philadelphia is going to win this game? My opinion, they played San Francisco 49ers, right? We all saw what happened against the 49ers. Huge score, right? Well, there was the big, we had all the quarterback injuries and whatnot, which sounds like there's going to be a rule change, hopefully next year, because of that. Steve Mariucci was on the McAfee show today, and he is part of the NFL rules or something committee. I don't know which committee he's on, player safety. I don't know, something. But when that happened, when the second quarterback or the fourth string quarterback for San Francisco went out 2 weeks ago, he literally texted Roger Goodell and said, this can't happen. This is not good for the game. Can you imagine if this happens in the Super Bowl? Because they're only allowed to do two quarterbacks or whatever, only dress two quarterbacks. It's something in the rules, whatever. Where was I? Two quarterbacks, whatever. So Steve Mariucci says, can you imagine what this would do if this happened in the Super Bowl? If the other team literally can't attempt to throw the ball after the second or third play of the Super Bowl. Can you imagine how terrible that would be? Because there's billions of dollars on the line. And so I believe that it will be a rule change for next season. I think we'll see, at least for the playoffs, they'll be able to have three quarterbacks dressed. Whatever. They'll do whatever they got to do to change that rule to add one more quarterback. So what happened to San Francisco doesn't end up happening. However, how do I get to who I'm picking? So we all saw that happen, and the Eagles just stomped the San Francisco 49ers. And it's like, they didn't have any quarterbacks. But if we remember, the San Francisco 49ers were one of the most dominant defenses in the NFL all season. And Philly hung 31 points on them, I think. 31, whatever it was. It was in 30s. I mean, they hung quite a few points on them. It was 30-something to 7. And so, in my opinion, what I think is happening is I think that the football folks or the betting folks are looking at the fact that Philly went out there and didn't just win because of the injuries, but then dominated that defense, which the injuries weren't to the defense. They were to the quarterbacks. And I believe that is why Vegas is going, oh my gosh, Philly is just so complete. They're going to just dominate, blah, 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 blah. And that's why I think all the money and the line hasn't changed, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that's faulty. I think that's a faulty way of thinking because, as I've said before, I'll say again, and I'll always say it's not about X's and O's, it's about Jimmy's and Joe's, or vice versa. It's not about Jimmy's and Joe's, it's not about X's and O's, about Jimmy's and Joe's, it's about Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. Whatever, you get it, right? And I think that they are not taking into account the demoralization that literally occurred on that bench to both sides of the football when that injury happened, when those injuries happened, because that's the end of their season. This is a win or go home game, and it happened to be a go to the Super Bowl or go home game. And 2 plays into the game, they knew they were done. And so, you're still, you want to play your heart out on the other side of the ball. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, what a way to go. We talked about it. Who wants to lose a game that way? Who wants to win a game that way? Now, granted, I'll get to the Super Bowl any way I can get there. But if I've got a choice, I don't want to win or lose that way. That's just horrible. And so I think that Vegas is putting too much stock into the number that was put up against the Niners, that defense. And that's how they're just being so sold out on the Eagles. That said, even with that, I still think it's kind of a 50-50 shot. I mean, I don't know. You've got Mahomes who's injured. Of course, everybody's saying, oh, he's 100%. Or they say Patrick Mahomes at 75% is better than Jalen Hurts at 100. Whatever. It ain't going to come down to just one player. Obviously, we all know that. It's cliche. It's everybody on the field. But, this game, man, it has a potential to be a really good game. And as they say on paper, it should be a really good game. I personally believe it's going to be a 10 to 17 point game difference. And I'm picking the Chiefs. So there you go. That is how I arrived at the Chiefs. To be quite honest, it's as close to 50-50 as it gets. It could go either way. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the Chiefs, and that's the way I'm arriving at it. Now, the other way you could look at this, defense wins championships, right? Well, okay, so where do the Chiefs and the Eagles stack up on offense? Well, the Chiefs are the number 1 offense in the NFL, whereas the Eagles are the number 2 offense in the NFL. Okay, so then now we get down to the defense wins championships. Well, the Eagles have the number 3 defense, supposedly, in the NFL, but the Chiefs have the number 12 defense in the NFL. So by that, again, on paper, the Eagles should win. But I think the Chiefs, having been there, having won before, and having the Andy Reid factor and the Patrick Mahomes and the Travis Kelce and the blah, 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 blah. But more than any of those, the number one reason I think the Chiefs are going to win is because Dave and I were at a preseason Chiefs game. We saw Patrick Mahomes throwing to Travis Kelce. It was the smoothest thing we've ever seen, the most glorious looking touchdown throws ever. And we both said to ourselves, those boys are going to win a Super Bowl. So that's how I arrive at the Chiefs. Okay? Take it, leave it. I'm taking the Chiefs. What do we have? I saw a whole bunch of stuff coming in here. Let's see. Okay, Wally's going for the Eagles. Okay. Andy and Drew is going for the Eagles as well. Okay. Hey, boys, it's not too late. It's not too late. You heard my justifications. You can change. There's time. There's still time. What did Dave say? I think Dave said, what did he say? Where are you, Dave? Well, he texted it. I know that. So he must have had to jump off. But so Wally and Andrew are both going Eagles. Am I the only one that's going to go for the Chefs? Am I the only one? Oh, my gosh, I am. Well, hey, it's good to be a winner. So I guess I'll just gladly take that one to the bank. You're welcome. By the way, Wally, if you somehow win and you win all these and you come out ahead at the end of the season, it's still going to have an asterisk on it because it's only season 0.5. It's not even a full real season. I just want to put that out there so everybody knows ahead of time. If Wally wins, we're going to make sure he doesn't win. Heard it here first. Anyway, so I guess I'm the only one going with the Chefs. I am the only one going with the Chefs. Gutsy call, man. So as for the coin flip, now I will say, again, boys, here's a little statistical stuff. We know it's 50-50 every year, right? But the last 2 years have both been heads. So what do you do for your statistical analysis, right? Now, you heard me gripe and complain all season long about statistics because Brandon Staley doesn't have a first clue on how to apply them. Well, The fact of the matter is, statistics can say anything you want them to say. And so we can either say it's a 50-50 shot every time they flip that coin, or we can go, well, if we're just going to go by the rule of thirds, the last 2 out of 3 were heads. So then by default, hello, it should be tails. Almost guaranteed this time, right? Bottom line, the most accurate statistical analysis of it is it's flipping 50-50 every time. So I'm taking tails because I always take tails. As they say, tails never fails. I think Dave went tails as well. Dave went tails. Okay. Andrew's going heads. Where's Wally going? Wally, what'd you do? Walbert's going heads. So Dave and I are riding tails. Walbert and Andrew are going heads. Okay. And the last one, the over-under. What do you boys think? Is it going to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game? We've got a good defense out there and a pretty good defense out there. But we've also got 2 high-powered offenses out there. So what's going to happen? I'll tell you, I am going to go over. I think they're going to score at least 51.5 points at least 51 points. And we'll just go with that. So let's see. What do we have here? So I'm going over. I think Dave went under. Did Dave go under? Yep, Dave went under. And I'll have to text all these out. Sorry about all the sniveling, boys. But we have 93 animals in this house, and I'm allergic to every single one of them. So, and I had to shut off my air purifier over here because it makes sound on the what have you. So anyway, there you have it, boys. I'm going Chef's tails over. Dave is going Eagles tails under. Andrew is going Eagles heads under. And Walbert is going Eagles heads over. All right. Well, this should be entertaining. It looks like it's going to, in fact, come down to the last game of the season. Anyway, so that's it, boys. That's it for our show this time around. That's our picks. Be sure to stick around for fun fuchsia football facts. Always a good one. And with that said, we'll be on the text machine over the weekend. Hopefully it's a good Super Bowl. Hopefully it's an entertaining Super Bowl. I'm sure we'll be firing messages back and forth. We will have one more official season 0.5 show after the Super Bowl so that we have our results and we can announce our official winner unless it's Wally. And then we will we'll figure out what we're going to do in terms of podcasting in the off season. You know, I definitely am going to do it. Whether or not you guys are going to want to tune in, who knows? It's going to be up to you. Or if you're going to want to watch them afterwards or not watch them at all, whatever. But we are definitely going to have a lot of talks during the off season, which is going to last way too long, so that we can figure out what day, what time, how, all sorts of other things. You guys are going to be as big a part of this as I am. And anyway, love y'all. This has been awesome. It's always fun. I can't wait to do it again. Can't wait to see y'all on the text machine and otherwise. Thanks again for a couple weeks ago hanging out. Tons of fun. And like I said, love y'all. Y'all be good. And until next time.